Now at 10, photos and videos from inside the Marshall County Jail showing inmates fighting, smoking, and holding bags of drugs. Now, this has sent shockwaves through Marshall County after people saw the images on social media. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for joining us at 10. I'm Greg Screws.
And I'm Clarissa McLean. The Marshall County Sheriff's Office arrested one of their former jailers Monday. Jonathan Mark Foster is charged with promoting prison contraband. Investigators say he gave an inmate a cell phone in the county jail.
The arrest comes merely hours before our Taking Action investigation into the bad behavior was slated to air. Coincidence? Perhaps.
What we do know is that when concerned citizens felt their complaints to the sheriff's office went nowhere, they contacted us. And investigative reporter Courtney Crown took action to get to the bottom of this bad behavior.
It's no wonder videos like this, pulled from an inmate's Facebook page at the Marshall County Jail, are causing concern. The man on the right appears to be Brandon Bennett. He's been in the Marshall County Jail since May 17th, charged with shooting into an occupied dwelling.
Go here, bro. Got to, bro. One more time.
This violent video is filmed inside the jail. One local person who's watched the videos and is familiar with the jail fears the jail environment is fueling gang activity. But they're also afraid of retaliation. That's why we've hidden their identity.
And how does the staff let things like this go on in the jail?
Fighting isn't the only apparent issue. A Marshall County resident sent me video that we believe an inmate recorded on the social media app Snapchat.
How many you want? Smoking good, nigga, right now on my bunk, nigga.
People in the community are wondering how and why inmates have contraband, cell phones, marijuana, and possibly more.
They're reaching out and getting drugs back into the jail and even more cell phones back into the jail.
Meanwhile, tax-paying citizens wait and wonder, what is going on in there?
We on Snap, yeah.
I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
We've reached out to Sheriff Scott Walls repeatedly. He still hasn't responded to our multiple requests. We just find it interesting that after we began airing announcements promoting our investigation to air tomorrow night, there is now an arrest in connection to the prison contraband. But this case isn't over, and neither is our investigation. Taking Action in Gunnersville, Courtney Crown, WHNT, News 19.
Now, Jonathan Foster is free on a $1,000 bond.
Our Taking Action investigation continues tomorrow night at 10. We've learned the Marshall County jailers are inexperienced, and there's not enough of them.
Problems at the Marshall County Jail did not begin today. A WHNT News 19 investigation exposed problems at the jail, from inmates videotaping fights to drug use.
WHNT News 19's Courtney Crown broke this story and continues our team coverage. Courtney.
Well, after a number of Marshall County residents complained to us about their concerns regarding the jail, we started digging and we uncovered bad behavior, fights and drugs in more cell phone videos recorded by inmates and posted to social media. What we revealed appears to be at odds with the claims the sheriff's office made today. WHNT News 19 has made multiple requests over the past 2 weeks for an interview with Marshall County Sheriff Scott Walls, including as recently as today. He has not responded, but his office issued a statement on today's jail disturbance. In that statement, Sheriff Scott Walls seemed to shift responsibility for the jail's problems to the county commission, saying, quote, "In the past 2 years, we have requested additional funding and to increase the starting pay for jailers. That request has been denied numerous times by Chairman James Hutchison. But we'd spoken to Hutchison about the jail problems before today's incident, and he offered a very different view."
We basically tried to give them what he asked for, because you can't ever give every department head what they ask for. But we tried to work with him and tried to provide all the financial resources that he needs to do the job.
Hutchison pointed out half the county budget goes to the sheriff's office. WHNT News 19 found records that show the jail staff is supposed to have 28 jailers. Right now, there are 10 vacancies. Records show the county has also paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in overtime. Sheriff Walls also said, quote, "At the last commission meeting, the commission chose to defund a jail supervisor position." But Hutchison disputed that claim as well, saying the position had been unfilled for 17 months and the county only eliminated it in June, as required by county budget rules.
They came to the commission last month and asked for a 30-day extension, and the commission granted that. The commission ran 30-day extension. They still didn't fill in that 30 days. They came back this month and asked for additional 30 days, and there was no motion. I can't make a motion. There was no motion from commissioners to extend it for additional 30 days, so the fund position wasn't funded because there was no motion.
Well, my investigation continues tonight at 10. I dig deeper into the jail staffing problems. I'm breaking down the numbers, and we're also not going to stop pressing Sheriff Walz for an interview to try to get you answers on what is going on in the Marshall County Jail. In the newsroom, Courtney Crown, WHNT News 19.
Our Taking Action investigation into the Marshall County Jail revealed disturbing images from inside the jail.
Now, last night we showed you pictures and videos recorded on cell phones, and tonight we reveal even more bad behavior, and it begs the question, where are the jail guards? WHNT News 19's Courtney Crown continues our investigation.
Images inside what appears to be the Marshall County Jail showing inmates smoking and fighting. It's no wonder videos like this, pulled from an inmate's Facebook page at the Marshall County Jail, are causing concern. The man on the right appears to be Brandon Bennett. He's been in the Marshall County Jail since May 17th, charged with shooting into an occupied dwelling.
Go here, bro. Gotcha, bro. One more time.
This violent video is filmed inside the jail. One local person who's watched the videos and is familiar with the jail environment spoke with us on the condition that we kept them anonymous.
And how does the staff let things like this go on in the jail?
Fighting isn't the only apparent issue. A Marshall County resident sent me video that we believe an inmate recorded on the social media app Snapchat.
How many you want? Smoking good right now on my bunk.
Other people have received social media messages with pictures like this. This one shows an inmate wearing Marshall County sweats. Another wearing a pair of expensive tennis shoes. The man second from the left appears to be inmate Fentress Armour, in jail on a parole violation. The one second from the right, former inmate Wesley Staten, charged with using false identity. And the one on the far right, inmate AJ Armour, charged with trafficking meth. People in the community are wondering how and why inmates have contraband, cell phones, marijuana, and possibly more.
They're reaching out and getting drugs back into the jail and even more cell phones back into the jail.
The inmates clearly seem to be unsupervised, and that may not be a coincidence. WHNT News 19's investigation has uncovered records showing the jail is understaffed with inexperienced guards. They currently have 18 jailers supervising 274 inmates. One of those belonged to Jonathan Foster, who was arrested on Monday. Vacant positions are not a new problem.
We have a personnel department here next door that continuously interviews people and tries to fill these slots.
Records show 10 of the 18 jailers have been on the job less than 6 months. They are paid between almost $11 and $23 per hour. The jailers start out on the low end of this range.
It's a tough job, and they have a hard time of getting people that stay in the jail with the amount of pay they get.
Some police officers tell me that the conditions inside the jail are chaotic. Residents have told me they wonder what's happening in there. They don't know what their taxes are paying for, and others have said that they're worried that the conditions depicted in those pictures and video are breeding a culture of gang violence.
Commission Chairman James Hutchison provided records showing Marshall County residents have paid nearly $1 million in overtime for jailers in the past 5 years. They've already paid about $250,000 this year. Still, it doesn't seem the job is getting done.
Try to provide all the financial resources that he needs to do the job.
Money for a jail that appears to be a breeding ground for violence and a dumping ground for your tax dollars. Taking action in Gunnersville, Courtney Crown, WHNT News 19.
And WHNT News 19 has repeatedly reached out to Sheriff Scott Walz for an interview, but until today, he had never responded. And even though he did finally respond, he refused an interview, citing a lack of time. Now, we will continue to push for answers. And we continue our investigation of problems inside the Marshall County Jail. A disturbance brought law enforcement agencies from across the county to the jail yesterday.
And that call came a day after our Taking Action investigation revealed bad behavior in the jail. You'll recall seeing these videos of inmates smoking and fighting, all apparently recorded on cell phones they have inside the jail. But it turns out a shakedown did not shake out all of the problems.
And that's where investigative reporter Courtney Crown picks up our investigation.
So, Courtney, the sheriff's office has taken steps in recent days to attempt to solve the problems.
Well, that's right, Greg. And you'll remember Marshall County deputies arrested one of their own jailers on Monday for allegedly bringing a cell phone into the jail for an inmate. Then deputies say they searched all inmates before putting them back into their cells. But apparently they missed something.
Because I don't get tired. They made stuff, bro.
Some Marshall County residents are finding out about what allegedly happened inside the jail during Wednesday's shakedown because of an inmate recording his experience on a cell phone. The inmate depicted in this footage is inmate Jacob Creighton. He's been in the Marshall County Jail since January 2nd of this year. You've also seen him in our reports this week during our Taking Action investigation, Bad Behavior.
DJ, I'm recording this in the bitch all again.
As we reported on Thursday at 5, Marshall County grand juries routinely tour the jail. During the most recent tour on April 5th, grand jury members said the inmates were, quote, disciplined and regimented, end quote. District Attorney Everett Johnson says members of the grand jury wouldn't find the stuff nor witness the behavior apparently recorded inside the jail. We also asked Attorney General Steve Marshall about the cell phones and drugs inside the jail. For 16 years, he served as the district attorney in Marshall County.
And so I guess it would be our hope is that to the extent now they've identified that they're there, that they take proactive steps in being able to eliminate those from the jail.
I spoke with incoming Sheriff Phil Sims. He unseated Sheriff Scott Walls in the primary election. Since Sheriff Walls will not answer our questions, we wanted to ask Sims if people in Marshall County should be worried for their safety in regard to inmates' behavior in the jail.
But the community doesn't need to be nervous. Everything will be fine.
Still, hours after Marshall County agencies responded to the county jail for a shakedown, inmates are still recording what appears to be a free-for-all in the facility managed by the sheriff's office. Sheriff Scott Walls is still staying silent. We asked him to speak with us again today. He, again, has not responded to our request, leaving everyone to wonder, who is running the Marshall County Jail?
We continue our Taking Action investigation, Bad Behavior, tonight at 10, and I'll share more of my interview with Phil Sims, the Marshall County Sheriff-elect. Specifically, I asked him about the mess he's inheriting and how he plans to tackle it. In the newsroom, Courtney Crown, WHNT News 19.